is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
No. Y'all, just stop. This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. Happy Monday. Got it nice and buttoned up right on time.
Yeah, you did.
How are we doing? How was everyone's weekend?
I just chilled. I got a new puffy hairstyle. You like it?
I like it. I like it.
So you didn't chill. You got a brand new hairstyle.
No, it's not. I didn't
Loving
go. This is the thing. Like for me, I just didn't do my hair, so I just put it in like a couple braids this weekend, and I took it out this morning.
It looks
was
fantastic.
Prayed for the best.
There you go.
That's what happened. This wasn't like a plan to go to the
I
salon.
thought it was like salon all day.
No. This is any black girl understands what's going on right now. This was like I was in
But
bed
you
a lot
sold
this
me.
weekend.
Yeah,
and hopefully it just works out.
It looks great.
If you didn't say anything, everyone was like, wow, Lindsay was at the salon, looked really
I
hard.
really appreciate that.
Yeah.
This morning. I was like taking the braids out, going like this.
Hey, well, good job. You fooled me and everybody else out there. All right, let's get to it, guys, because there's a new development in the fatal shooting on the Russ set involving Alec Baldwin. So according to a new FBI forensic report, the gun Alec was holding when he shot cinematographer Helena Hutchins could not have gone off without pulling the trigger. This contradicts an earlier statement Alec made where he said he never pulled the trigger. So Alec's attorney said the FBI report is being, quote, misconstrued when he said when the FBI tested it, the gun fired only one time without having to pull the trigger. The hammer was pulled back and the gun broke in two different places. He added the FBI wasn't able to fire the gun in any prior test, even when holding or pulling the trigger, because it was in such poor condition. I hate attorney excuses.
What's that?
Because every 26 years the moon goes behind the sun and you can't see.
That was
It's
awful.
like, oh, I can't stand lawyers.
I'm just trying to figure out.
My fault. I'm sorry, I can't.
Who gets in a he said, she said with the FBI? Like, and no one asked you to. Like, he went on ABC and did this interview saying, I definitely did not pull the trigger, said this on national TV, and now he got himself in a mess because their own research has shown that the only way the gun goes off is because you pulled the trigger, and now they're over-explaining why they didn't do that. And so now, besides the evidence they're gathering here, they're also working with Suffolk County Police Department to gather his phone calls, phone records, text messages, and so he's just walking himself into a bigger mess.
Enormous.
We all told him to be quiet a while ago on all the random issues that he chimes in on, but
After
on
that
this one,
roadside interview he gave.
Oh my God!
this is like life in prison or not. You know, I don't understand who continuously chimes in about this.
I think what's interesting to me is the narcissism of Alec Baldwin has gotten into many problems for him, including the Russ set in general. There was no safety on there, and he was like, it's fine, we'll just hire non-union or we'll skate by. That's a narcissistic way of looking at things. To then think you can talk before your lawyers about the gun and be like, I didn't do anything, that's narcissistic. He's gonna want to take the stand. Let me tell you, he should not, but that's a narcissist for you. This guy really, I think he thinks he can outsmart everybody else, including the FBI.
But I'm going to take the other side here.
I was going to as well.
You know, honestly, I think that he's a man that's sustained a life-altering trauma. I don't think this was intentional. I don't think it was intentional.
Of
course not. I'm not saying you guys are saying. I'm just saying I don't think this is intentional. I think this is a terrible accident. I think a lot of times when you do something that's not high budget, you know, you're not working with a network, you're not working with Paramount Pictures, you're trying to shoot something. Me, Tori, you know, Lindsay and Jeff were shooting an independent movie. Yeah, some things are. I'm not saying it's the same, but you're going to be like things are going to be a little bit more lax, and when things fall apart, it looks bad. But really, I just think they were trying to shoot what looks to be a passion project movie. This was not Avatar 2.
Right.
You know, and I think things just went super left, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the narcissism. I definitely think that plays contributes to that, and I definitely agree with he should shut his mouth, right? Here's what I'm going to stick to what I said before. Alec Baldwin, the producer, overseeing the film, has some culpability.
Absolutely.
Alec Baldwin, the actor, when there was a chain of events on how even Live Round got on there, and him, whether he pulled the trigger or pulled the hammer, it's still, even though he's holding the gun, in my eyes, he is not culpable for shooting that gun. There's a chain of events that happen. You get the gun on set, you load it with blanks, you check it, you double check it, then you hand it to the actor. That's not the actor's job to check to see if the gun's loaded with live rounds or not. It's just him doing his lines, right? I have to do here, I have to go here, and this scene, I pick up the gun, I point it, and I pull the trigger. That's what he's supposed to do. But I don't think it's his fault. I think there's a chain of events that happened that failed, but him overseeing the film, I definitely believe is at fault.
As a producer, yeah, I agree with that. I would agree with that.
Oh, all right, no comeback.
It was good. You said something really well.
I just want to see how your production company gets charged. Like, that'll be interesting.
Well, I think it's going to be a civil suit.
Yeah.
That's how he's going to get charged. I don't think he'll see jail time, but it's going to be financial.
Yeah, I think that there's two different, like the civil suits have already been filed. Now there's people who probably will file more, but now there's like a criminal charges looking through his phone. The FBI is involved. It doesn't seem like just for money.
Do you think he's going to go to jail?
I mean, I would hope that it gets sorted out the best way possible for everybody. So if he didn't mean to do it, obviously I don't think that this man would just go on his own set and shoot somebody. But I do think that, like, charging a production company as her family member, I'd be like, the production company didn't kill my daughter. So I would be upset as a mom. I would be upset as a family member of this woman who passed away.
Yeah.
Like, who's getting in trouble for this?
Even a lesser charge of like negligence or manslaughter, not like murder, but at some point you didn't check, you weren't,
But it's not. But if it's not your job to check, how are you going to jail for that?
But if I drive a car and I didn't mean to turn,
no, that's not true at all. If you're in the back seat and someone else is driving the car because it's their job to drive, how are you culpable sitting in the back seat?
But he held the gun.
But he wasn't the one who checked it. There's not supposed to be live rounds in there. He didn't load the gun. He didn't do that.
That's where I keep getting. It's just like all these things, this studio, everything requires everybody to do their job. If people have not charged the iPads, if the cameras are not charged, whatever. People say, well, why didn't Jeff check the camera? Lindsay, you should have known your audio was broken from last. No, there are people. The beloved Steve will make sure that works.
I don't know.
Rob will make sure that the camera works. There's people doing their jobs.
That's mixing to me apples and oranges. Like a gun is different than an audio. That needs to be extremely careful. And with someone as experienced as Alec Baldwin, he should have known to check if it's cold. If there was already a gun that was misfired on set, which there was, there was already a gun misfired on set.
How is he supposed to know if it's cold? How do you look into a gun?
You go like this and see, and there was a bullet in there.
Okay, but how do you know it's not a blank?
I think hindsight's 20/20, obviously, but I feel like if all four of us put a small production together, perhaps we would think about ways to not have danger on set. If we're going to cut costs, it wouldn't be at the level of the crew with the gun that manages that part. We would make sure people are safe at the very least.
Listen, I've done small films, right? And I'm not saying I'm Alec Baldwin, but I'm more worried about where I have to go and say what I have to say. If I say a line and then I have to get over to the other side of the room and sit in a chair, I'm going to expect that the chair's going to hold me. I'm not going to fall through the chair, right? That's not my problem.
You to be like,
hey, you should have checked the chair, Jeff. Sorry, you look like an idiot now. That's not my fault. I'm worried about doing this. Even if I look in the gun and I see that there's a bullet in there, I would assume that it's a blank because there is someone specifically on set who handles that.
And that you hired, though. So it's Alec Baldwin production company. So who was in trouble?
Again, the production company.
Alec Baldwin. It all falls on him.
But he hired somebody to hire him. He didn't hit her up on LinkedIn. Like,
it depends how low budget this movie was.
All right, let's move on. We're not going to agree on this one. So a new documentary is looking at the tragic lives of some very funny people. The 10-part series called The Dark Side of Comedy looks at comedians like Richard Pryor, Roseanne Barr, and Andrew Dice Clay. The first episode also looks at the life and death of my favorite, former SNL star Chris Farley, who died in 1997 from an overdose of cocaine and morphine. Let's have a look.
The first hour drinking with Chris was fun. The second hour drinking with Chris was the most amazing time in your life. But the next 5 hours was brutal.
You're doing comedy to get that response, but there was something different with him.
His eating, drinking, and drug use were escalating. So his old colleagues at Saturday Night Live plotted to save the beloved star.
Man, I saw all the documentaries on Chris Farley specifically, Al, but what do you think about the bigger picture? All these, it's focused on 10 different comedians.
Right. I mean, before I even knew we were doing the story today, I watched the one on Chris Farley this weekend on Vice. And, you know, obviously it's a story as old as time in terms of comics that I've known that are not famous, that are no longer here because, you know, the lifestyle, it's the lifestyle. Because you take out comedy, put in singers. Take out comedy, put in pro hockey players. Take out comedy, put in chefs. Anybody with this kind of lifestyle, high pressure, late at night, vice all around, people that are yes, men and women all around you all the time, anything you want you can have right then and have more of it than you can ever do. How else could this work out unless you are a person that is incredibly disciplined?
And I have to say, I did comedy in LA, nothing quite like a road comic. I was not that. But the high that I would get after getting a good laugh, like I would kill at the Comedy Store belly room, I would come out and feel like I was on a drug. Like I was on the highest.
You were, it's adrenaline.
It is, and then I'd get in the car and I'd go home and I would crash. And so after SNL, which is at like 1 in the morning at the after party, people want to keep going. And I think SNL had that reputation of just really work, party, keep going. You don't want the high to end. And so it leads you to dangerous places.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys both know more, but I feel like a lot of comedians really never show their sad side.
Yeah.
Because their job is to keep other people happy. So even when Kevin Hart did Laugh at My Pain and was literally going through a divorce and actually talking about his wife, who he was going through it with, it ended up being a tumultuous divorce process right after that special came out. And Will Smith talks about dealing with his past and then why he always tries to be the happy-go-lucky, like I'm going to jump off the plane near the Grand Canyon guy. It's still like he has trauma. People look at him as the happy guy, the best guy on Instagram, but he is a human too.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of when I see comedians, that famous line like the sad clown or whatever.
Tears of a clown.
Yeah.
Happy, sad face of drama.
Yes, because I mean, comedians, famously admit what you exactly just said. Like they've had some dark past, and the comedy almost kind of blocks that.
And also, think about this: the audience isn't sitting there like, I don't understand what this comedian is saying. What is he? The audience can relate to divorce. Can relate to you feeling overweight, or relate to you feeling like a loser, or your spouse doesn't respect you.
Night after night, too. Think about that.
It's a lot. And I think comedians are kind of encompassing all of our pain and just able to articulate it in a funny way. But, that's kind of how we deal with tragedy, is through humor. So, and unfortunately, the people that deliver that, sometimes that tragedy gets stuck in them.
Yeah, looking forward to that doc for sure. Coming up on DBL, a girl goes viral for FaceTiming during a concert. We're rounding up the most annoying concert behavior. And Tom Holland announces a break from social media, but was it really necessary? We're going to chat about it next.
It seems to him.
Closed captioning provided by...
I think it is one of those stories we're all going to be like, what?
So raised you.
Why am I right all the time?
Am I going crazy?
Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
True thing. He's dating. Tom Holland is dating Zendaya, excuse me. And Zendaya is the one. If anyone to get off social media, Tom Holland. I know you were Spider-Man. You're not like that.
He's big. Stop hating.
Okay, sorry. God. My first thought, and I know that's wrong, was like, that guy? Okay. But I did think, I'm like, my God, really? Tom Holland?
I do.
That's not right to me.
That's her art teacher shirt.
This is my art teacher shirt. Welcome to my class. Everyone sit on painted stools.
Did you guys have that in your art class? Did you have an art teacher that was like, I'm Joan and I believe in the world?
I think our art room was also like the industrial arts room, so it was very sterile, and like metal and wood in there.
Really?
So yeah, it wasn't like, it was a dual purpose.
I don't remember art class.
You don't?
But one thing I specifically remember, I had a Spanish teacher, and I don't know how to translate. I don't know if I should say it. I'm stuttering too much. Never mind. I'm stuttering way too much. I'll tell you guys off air. I'm sorry, guys. I'll check if it's okay and appropriate.
First of all, Lizzie,
by somebody who speaks the language,
now
and then I'll come back and know what it is.
But no, she can't start a story like that.
I'm sorry. I was stuttering. I got embarrassed a little bit by. I don't want to say it out loud.
Lizzie's like, look, I had a Spanish teacher, and then burst into tears.
And then there was this time I say it to somebody in a Spanish-speaking country, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And she taught us this is the first word when we got in the class. I was in 7th grade.
Oh, inappropriate word.
Well, I don't know. She had a picture of her husband, and she said something.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, oh, I thought that this means this is my husband.
Oh my God.
That should be a segment we should do, is like words that are like really bad, but you didn't know, like, because in different countries,
a good point.
Different things mean
That's
way
a good point. Like
things.
fanny.
Yes, we don't even want to say that.
In Britain, it's
we
very bad.
We don't even want to say that.
Is that bad in Britain? Oh, I don't know what it means.
Yeah, we should not.
Oh, I shouldn't have. Can I say it in America?
Yeah, we can say it.
What's happening over there?
I don't know. I'm out of the conversation. I'm getting a little uncomfortable.
I don't think it's TV appropriate, so I won't inquire anymore. So, welcome back. Spider-Man actor Tom Holland says he's taking a break from social media due to negative effects it's having on his mental health. So Tom made the announcement on Instagram. Let's have a look.
Because I find Instagram and Twitter to be overstimulating, to be overwhelming. I get caught up and I spiral when I read things about me online. And ultimately, it's very detrimental to my mental state.
So in response, Amy Schumer made her own announcement on Instagram saying she's going to spend more time on social media. Let's watch.
Hey y'all, I've decided for my own mental health to do more social media. I find that looking at my phone for 8.5 hours a day is helping me. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me on social media just for my physical and mental well-being.
So other stars like Selena Gomez say they don't use social media. Last year, Pamela Anderson said she was quitting all the apps, and Pete Davidson and Kanye West have both gone on and off Instagram, depending on who's dating Kim over the years. So what do we think? Let's start with Tom Holland, because there was a lot in there. He's going on an app to say he doesn't want to use that app, but he's also promoting a mental health app, which is STEM4. It's a company called STEM4 that he's promoting to help people with mental health. So how else is he going to get the message out there if he doesn't use the app?
Catch-22 there.
Right? So he's like, here, I'm going to promote this in case you guys need help, and now I'm going off. I feel like he's getting a lot of heat, but he's also doing a good thing. I don't understand, just in my mind.
I feel like people, like, the more I'm hearing about the real effects of like the metaverse, like there's a whole world. We saw this like on shows when we were younger, but now there's a literal whole world that people go into, spend hours a day, make avatars, buy clothes,
like Sims,
buy money, use their real money in these fake places. And so part of that is Instagram, you know, part of that is Meta, you know, and Facebook owns it. So it's just like, it is overwhelming when you think about how much time you're spending at somewhere that's not real, but is real because real currency is being spent there. It's just, it's the craziest thing. So sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not doing this today, because you're on a deep dive and your mind is not meant to like, okay, these fruits and then this thing and then this person's doing this and then someone's talking about me. Like, it's like almost like crazy behavior all at once coming into your head. Like, we're meant to have conversations with real people, to me, and like talk about one thing at a time calmly and like, you know, enjoy your life outside. Like we used to play in the treehouse.
So all start.
Yeah, so it kind of bothers me that kids especially spend so much time in this fake world instead of in real life.
And I think when, like, for instance, pretend you're talking to me, Al.
All right. Hey, Tori.
Hey.
I'm just pretending to talk to you.
Yeah,
You're not really present, are you?
Right. And I'm doing that now with, like, friends and family members because
Did your phone go off?
Yeah, because the dopamine effect of that scrolling, I need it every 5 minutes. I mean, I'll stop and say, no more scroll. And then I'll be like, without noticing, I'll go back to Instagram.
There's a time, so you could, on your iPhone, right, you could go on there and see how much time you use a day.
Yeah.
So you should do that, and then at the end of the night, look and be like, I spent 9 hours of my day on Instagram, and it'll really give you like a look inside yourself, because you probably think you're not.
Right, I think it's automatic that I'm doing
wait till you see the hours combined. So that's something everyone should do at home. Just go on your phone, you can time it.
I applaud Tom Holland. I think that's great. I think people need to.
But he also got a bag too for doing it. So it does.
It does
take it down a little. You're doing so good. That's why you get $2 million. Like, it's like good to promote mental health. But it's a thing where maybe Kanye and Pete Davidson are doing it right. Maybe you should take, like, just like anything else. I mean, people don't work out their entire life every day. Some of you slack off in the summer. Come back.
Do.
You know, I try because I'm 500 years old. But like, yeah, when people take breaks with everything,
true.
And I think maybe
this is every moment of every day.
I think you need to maybe ask yourself, Tori, like, what are you getting out of this? Like, what are you looking for that you're going to find?
Well, sometimes I find myself picking up the phone and going on Instagram, and I don't remember having picked up the phone and gone. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's involuntary, automatic behavior. That's a habit.
Pavlov's dog or whatever.
Yeah. The saliva hits when the bell rings.
That's a phrase to go. Let's end the segment on that. That's
the saliva hits.
When the bell rings, the dogs would get hungry. That was Pavlov's dog.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for that. Coming up on DBL, the most annoying things that coworkers do. Oh, no, never mind. The most annoying things people do at concerts. Are you guilty of them? Coming up.
Do you make $75,000 or less? Democrats' new army of 87,000 IRS agents will be coming for you. That warning from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has people on social media worried that the IRS is hiring more agents to target the middle class. But that's not true. Using these sources, let me walk you through where that 87,000 number came from and what the IRS is actually planning to do. The Senate recently passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes $80 billion in funding to the IRS over the next 10 years. According to the bill, which was passed by Congress and is awaiting President Biden's signature, about half of that IRS funding would be put towards expenses for the agency's task enforcement services. and that does include hiring more people. But the bill doesn't specify how many people. And the U.S. Department of the Treasury says claims that new agents will be hired to audit the middle class are false. So where did that 87,000 number come from? Well, we traced it to this May 2021 report from the Treasury Department, which estimated how many full-time employees the IRS could hire over the next decade if they received $80 billion in funding. The Treasury is projecting that 50,000 IRS staff members will retire or leave the agency in the next 5 years. And many of the projected hires would be to fill those vacated roles. And not all of these new hires will be agents tasked with auditing. In a recent letter, IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig assured senators that the IRS would not increase audit scrutiny on small businesses or middle-income Americans. A spokesperson for the Treasury Department confirmed what the commissioner said, adding that new hires will include some new auditors who will focus on corporate and high-end tax evaders, as well as other staffers tasked with improving taxpayer services. So we can verify, no, the IRS is not increasing audits on the middle class, nor are they hiring 87,000 new auditors. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. Now that people are heading back to concerts, maybe it's a good time to review proper concert behavior. Check out this video recently shared on TikTok of someone FaceTiming with their friend. Hold on, I want to see this. So they can see the show. But this brings up a point about concert behavior that some people find really annoying, such as talking loudly, rushing the stage, filming every song, as we just saw, scolding other concert goers like when you can't see, and over drinking, of course.
You mean concerts?
Yeah.
I don't get the scolding part. Just like yelling at people?
Like moves or sit down. I can't see. I paid good money for these tickets.
That happened to me. I was at Red Rocks. My buddy is a drummer. He was out there with his band, and we were just walking to find, it's kind of open seating, but you have a seat, and I just stepped on the chair, and this woman was like, "My husband's coming back." I was like, "I wasn't sitting here." Like it already started the concert off, and she touched my shoulder. I was like, "I don't want that." Don't do that. And so I definitely get that, but part of a concert is kind of letting go and understand in an uncontrolled space, like people are gonna.
And you're right. Yeah, you're like right next to the person. I also have seen people who are over drunk and fall and get really hurt. And I had someone who do that, and they got a huge lump on their head.
You said this was recently. They fell down the stairs.
Yeah, the Eagles. And I go, "Is there a doctor?" And the response was, "Why?" That's what people didn't even want to help anymore. It was like, why? I'm like, this person has a terrible concussion. But I did want to show you a quick thing about people on their phones during concerts. This is a guy, you know it. He was watching Tiger Woods. Everyone else was on their phone, and Michelob Ultra saw this and used it in an ad because he wasn't on his phone. So here is Tiger Woods, Some Live in It, the moment. And he got a whole ad campaign because he didn't have his phone. He was just in the moment. I think that's something to remember.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, technically, the guy to the right of him, left of the screen, he doesn't have a phone either. Watch.
Well, also,
hold on, we're coming. See the guy in the green?
Yeah, I'm about to say the green.
He's got no phone.
I was wondering if you're talking about the green dude.
Where's his ad, man? Green shirt guy.
And also, I don't know if that guy's a hero. He's double fisting a huge beer.
Hey,
so yeah,
he wasn't on his phone.
Okay.
I also don't like when I'm at concerts and they're like, "Oh, raise your phones up with the light on for the slow song." It's just like really annoying to me.
I used to be the lighter.
All right, I get it. We're past that. Let's sing the song. Everybody get your hands down so I can see.
What? Maybe it's the people you're going to see. Who did that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
But also, I will say this: for as much as concerts are annoying and terrible in certain places, the reason I don't go anymore is because of the restroom situation. That's when the 45-year-olds check out. But I will say this: some of the best times of my life when I was young was just going and just going to a cheap concert, going to see the Roots and Common before they were famous, seeing Outkast before they were famous. Like you go now when you're young, you don't care about that stuff. Go have fun and then complain when you're old.
Yeah. Exactly. I love it. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
You've seen the photos, blisters and bumps on the skin, what many have come to know as the hallmark of a monkeypox infection. But does it always look like this? Our question, does a monkeypox rash always happen outside of the body? Our sources, Dr. Cameron Wolfe, an infectious disease specialist with Duke Health, and the CDC.
You don't need to have skin surface blisters. I think that's actually a big part of clinician education, is that it's not just the skin lesions.
Wolf says sometimes the rash appears on what are called the mucous membranes. Those are the moist inner linings of some organs and body cavities.
They can be in the mouth, they can be inside the rectum, for example, they can be in the vaginal canal.
In fact, an early CDC analysis of monkeypox cases in the U.S. found the rash was most frequently reported on the genitals, with 46% of people experiencing that. The next most common places for the rash were arms, face, and legs. Wolf says it's why healthcare providers should be attuned to other red flags that might indicate hidden blisters.
Rectal pain, pain on defecation is a common way of finding it.
So we can verify, no, a monkeypox rash is not always outside of the body, and doctors say knowing that might help some detect infections sooner.
You probably think of airbags as protection in case of a collision, not necessarily something that needs to be protected. That's why we're asking, why are thieves targeting airbags? How can you prevent an airbag theft? And what happens after your airbag is stolen?
It's not really an explosion, it's just a bunch of gases releasing in a pressurized manner in order to inflate a nice fluffy airbag.
To verify, we turn to Laura Garcia, automotive instructor at Northern Virginia Community College, the National Insurance Crime Bureau, and the Montgomery County Police Department.
Airbags are very expensive,
upping their value on the black market. And she says prices are currently inflated because of supply chain issues. And these stolen airbags can also be linked to insurance fraud.
Let's say a vehicle gets into an accident, an insurance company pays for a legitimate airbag, but here that shop maybe isn't that reputable and will just buy another airbag off the street for a much lower price. They get to keep that profit.
The NICB estimates 50,000 airbags are stolen each year, costing car owners and insurers more than $50 million. But costing criminals little time at all.
And voila! You have your airbag.
To deter possible thieves, MGPD recommends parking in well-lit, known areas, investing in cameras, alarms, or clubs, and always locking doors and windows.
Just sort of the things you would do to prevent general theft anyway.
And if you do get your airbags stolen, NICB says it's important to take your car to an automotive professional.
Airbags are inherently dangerous.
You'll also want to go to a pro if your airbag light comes on. It could be a sign of a faulty, fake, or improperly installed device.
So we only got like 30 seconds left. We were talking about concerts. Best concert you ever been to?
Oh, God. Probably The Killers. I love The Killers, but I just saw Red Hot Chili Peppers in the pouring rain, and it was really exciting.
Nice.
With Flea.
Did you not hear me say 30 seconds?
Okay, go
Yeah, I was about to say that. We're done now.
Lindsay, what's yours?
Jay-Z Black Album, when he said he was retiring and didn't.
How about you, Al?
I was probably Outkast. I saw them in New Orleans once. What about you? Mraz?
It's too late. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.
Jason Mraz.